AITA for giving back everything my family bought for my son? My wife and I welcomed our son into the world early this month. Prior to his birth, we had been given a lot of very nice clothes and toys by my parents for him. My mill also made some pretty incredible clothes and blankets. My wife, her siblings and their mom lived in poverty for a large part of her life. Their dad abandoned the family and left my wife's mom with a large pile of debt that weighed on them. So their life wasn't easy. My mill often made her kids clothes versus buying them because it was cheaper for her to do. She worked in a store that had a lot of fabrics that they were allowed to take the excess of. She's talented and always put an effort into making sure the clothes looked good enough so the kids wouldn't be bullied. Those clothes are something my wife treasures. She remembers how much love and effort went into them. She also appreciates that her mom tried to make them work enough to blend in at school. That it saved the years of potential bullying. All these years later, and Mill is still dealing with the debt. She does not have a lot. So she made some amazing clothes and blankets for our son. One of the outfits was even his take-home outfit. But then a couple of days after our son was born, she comes over with a bag of clothes she bought saying she wanted him to have more. My wife and I were shocked. I could see she was upset and looked almost guilty, so when my wife went to nap I asked her what was going on. At first she said nothing and she just wanted her grandson to have more. But then she apologized for embarrassing us. I asked her what she meant. She told me my parents had talked to her after the baby shower and told her she had left all the grandparents spoiling to them, that she should understand if we never put our son in any of the clothes because really, they look like the kind of homemade clothes from 70+ years ago when people were left with no choice. They accused her of not caring enough. I told her I was so sorry they had said that. I assured her I had never said anything like that to them. That my parents had no idea what it was like to have nothing and were being judgmental assholes. I even convinced her to take back the clothes she bought and return them to the store. I then gathered up everything my parents gave us and went to their house. My parents didn't even try to deny it when I confronted them. All they did, I looked down on the effort she put into them. They said we couldn't seriously be okay with those being the only gifts. I said we were, and as far as I was concerned they were the only truly generous gift he got, and I told them it was their gifts I was embarrassed of. I gave them the stuff and told them we're no longer accepting the gifts or them after what they did. They are furious. Saying I reacted way too harshly, saying it's an whole move to return gifts. I'm furious with them too. AITA? AITA for screaming at my husband and his sister to get out of my kitchen? My husband's sister, 38, lives with us and our kids. I'm well beyond fed up with her being here because of food issues. That's the only reason. So, basically, every single time I make food his sister will come in and doctor up the food I'm making to her liking. Like I made steak and shrimp the other day, like Applebee's, and she waited until I left the room to put a full stick of butter in my shrimp that was already done, and when I came back in, she goes, "I'm pretty sure that's the taste you were looking for," and completely ruined it. It was trash. Or whenever I make spaghetti she will start dumping sugar into the sauce, to a point of sweet spaghetti that me and my kids outright refuse to touch because it's nasty. Every single time that she can get away with it, she's doing something to the food. Anyways, my husband has started doing the same thing. I went to make homemade mac last night and cheeseburgers. I went to the basement to the chest freezer to grab the veggies I needed, and when I came back upstairs, my husband was putting canned chicken into the mac and cheese. He knows the kids absolutely hate the taste of that, and his sister has pushing blocks of blue cheese into the partially cooked burgers. I asked what the they thought they were doing, because I've told them so many times to stop fucking with the food, and neither of them had any good excuse, other than, we were just helping. I flipped out and told them to get the out of my kitchen. Both of them told me I was overreacting, etc., etc. The thing is, I've openly asked my sil to cook several times and she won't. But she won't stop fucking with the food I'm making. My husband cooks often and I don't care if he screws with food he makes, but it royally isses me off when my cooking is messed with, and he knows that. AITA? AITA for being there was no alcohol at a wedding. One of my M35 best friends, M34, got married last week. He drinks alcohol and our friend group will meet up at breweries a few times a month to hang out. His fiancée, now wife, does not drink. It's never been a part of her life. My wife and I got a hotel room by the reception space and Ubered to the wedding. The ceremony occurs, we go to what's supposed to be cocktail hour, and there was just soda and water. No alcohol. This was not something we knew about ahead of time. There was a palpable buzz among our friend group at the lack of booze. A lot of us had spent money on a hotel room and Ubering anticipating drinking. I'm kind of pissed. Bride and groom come to cocktail hour. Everyone cheers, and when the bride and groom come mingle with us, I ask where is the booze. His new wife chimes in saying her family does not drink and they were paying for the wedding, thus no alcohol. I tell them we should know that ahead of time. I say he wasted money on a hotel room and Ubering. I would have just driven if I'd known, or maybe not even had come. The bride does not take my commentary well and implies I might have a drinking problem. I don't, I only drink with my friends. The groom says I don't need to be such an asshole. I reiterate that I spent a bunch of money on something I didn't need, we all did. The Brit assists at me and asks me to leave. My wife Andy leave, but it's clear I touched a nerve. In our group chat, friends were mixed on me saying something. My wife said I wasn't wrong, but my timing was wrong. So was I the asshole? AITA for telling my son's boyfriend he can't just keep showing up at the house? My youngest son, Tyler, 15M, has a boyfriend, Marius, 16M. Now I like Marius fine for the most part, other than that motorcycle he rides Tyler on all over perdition and being a little rough around the edges. But lately in the last few weeks he's literally always around. He comes for dinner, breakfast, and stays long after he should have already gone home. He'll just sometimes be there at the house waiting for Tyler to get home from like a family outing. I can also tell it was starting to bother Tyler. Onda looks like he might want a little distance. Yesterday I caught Marius after he dropped Tyler home from football and asked him what was up and why he'd been around so much lately. He just kinda shrugged and wouldn't say much. Well, I tried to explain the best I could that we love having him around, but that maybe it'd be best if he went back to regular business hours, or that maybe Tyler could go over his place sometimes. He kinda got this weird look on his face and just said yeah fine. This morning I hear Tyler yelling profanities upstairs. I go to investigate and he starts in on how I could say anything to Marius like that. Little confused, I asked why he was so upset. Tyler confided in me Marius recently came out to his dad, who wasn't taking it great and he'd been avoiding going home, and I basically told him to stay away. I apologized, especially since I didn't know all the details, just that he see me comfortable with all the attention. Tyler somberly told me he was, but that he was sucking it up for Marius. AITA for not giving my husband a single hour off on Father's Day. My husband, 36M, and I, 33F, have been married for 8 years and have 3 kids, 5, 3, and a 1-month-old infant. I am currently still recovering from my planned C-section, and it is taking a lot longer than I had hoped. I am not on bed rest, but pretty darn close. Unless it's to go to the bathroom or changing or feeding my baby, I'm pretty much always sitting or laying down. I don't like it, but it's what my body needs to heal right now. Both my husband and I are still on paternity leave. Obviously, that means that pretty much every other aspect of our lives falls on my husband right now. He's been doing a great job of taking care of the older kids and making sure everything in our lives is running as smoothly as it can given our circumstances. He's also great about taking care of the baby and giving me breaks as much as he can, but I can tell it's starting to wear on him mentally and physically. Neither of us is sleeping well, and I swear he looks like he's lost more weight than I have since the baby came. Due to me being pretty much immobile, I can't really go out of the house to do anything without assistance. So I wasn't able to plan anything really fun for Father's Day. I did help the older kids make him cards and ordered him some nice steaks to cook though. I felt bad because for Mother's Day he bought me a 6-hour pregnancy spa treatment and took the older kids out of the house all day so I could have peace. But on the morning of Father's Day, I was feeling worse than usual as I had to strain myself the day before to pick up something off the floor and I aggravated my incision. So, I was laid up all day. Again, this meant my husband had to do literally everything that day. By the time he got the older kids to bed, I could tell he was irritated and upset. I told him to try and relax for a bit, but then the baby started fussing and he jumped up off the couch, grabbed a pillow, and screamed into it. I tried to calm him down, but he just kept freaking out about how he's at his wit's end and he needs a break, and that I couldn't even find a way to give him a single hour of quiet on Father's Day. I started crying and he just looked at me and walked away to take care of the baby without saying anything. After he took care of the baby, he came back to me and apologized, but he said he needs a break. Onda's going to talk to family about taking the older kids for a week or so, and that he's just disappointed that his Father's Day was spent running around doing everything for everyone else. He didn't even get to cook his steaks. He ate cold pizza for dinner. I asked him what I was supposed to do because it's not like I can move or leave the house, and he said I could have looked into a sitter for the kids or made them sit with me and watch a movie for an hour so he could have just a sliver of time for himself. He said he feels like his needs are at the bottom of the list and he just wanted to feel like he matters for one day.